Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Well, I apologize. I need to, would you please call the roll, Francis?
Councilman Bowles,
I have trouble remembering.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Mullinex,
Yes.
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes. And so now we'll go forward to information reports. And the first one is the finance report. Is Meryl here?
Don't hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, I
Yes.
can hear you.
All right. The franchise fee is wow. It's $3,300. The lost funds and hospitality taxes are for December. The insurance is paid to the South Carolina Muni Insurance and Risk. If you go further to the under projects, and this is, I have a little list under projects, but $3,700 was work done on Mount Vernon Culvert. $3,300 were for Farmington Sidewalk. $5,000 is Mount Vernon driveway apron. $5,000 is for an apron on Downwood, and $1,200 is on street signs. The little bit of increase under the ISP programs and supplies is a July through August vehicle usage. We pay, I believe, $10 per whatever period of time that the deputy's out. And we get billed quarterly for that. Let's see. The repair care program, $14,000 is work done on Williams Road. You go down to History Council, you'll see a $2,200 or $2,300. That's to replace a marker that we actually received some insurance funds last fiscal year. Further down to, let's see, this is Ocean View. Ocean View and Stone Post. $8,000 is for easement works, and $3,200 is for Thomas and Hutton. And on the last page, or my last page, with the hospitality tax, I have one correction. If y'all look under Rethink Folly Road staff sharing, there's $9. That's actually $5,900. I think that's all.
All right. Do we have any questions for the finance official? All right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Meryl. Now we'll go on to the town administrator's report. Ashley.
Okay. Can y'all hear me okay?
I can.
Like normal? Okay. My webcam it's been acting up. But glad to hear that. Okay. So we did submit our TST grant for the Dells Bluff Sidewalk Phase 3. That was from Seaside to Condon Drive. That's been submitted to the Charleston County Transportation. I included a letter in your packet, the town supporting some CARTA funding, going after some battery electric buses. We now have a 501c3, James Allen Foundation. This is the work one of our grant consultants steered us through, and is establishing a new funding mechanism to open this up to more grant opportunities. One of those that we discussed in December that we were hoping would work out was Regions Bank, local bank here, but it turns out the schools on James Allen didn't meet some needs assessment thresholds. But we are still continuing to look at the other opportunities that they identified, including some with Blue Cross Blue Shield that we may be available for. Let's see. We had a pre-construction meeting at North Stiles. This is our hazard mitigation project. And that demolition is beginning this week. We have advertised a request for approvals, a request for proposals for right-of-way acquisition services. We currently have 2 companies now. Their on-call contract period has run out, so we're re-advertising that. And this is work that they do mainly with drainage easements, but we've used them before for other things. When we needed an easement for a boardwalk on Dill's Bluff, for example. Let's see. I've also attached a letter that went out to the Regatta Sidewalk Road residents, the residents that are going to be impacted by that project where the sidewalk's going. We've given them 4 different times to meet with us and the engineers on site. I've heard back from a lot of them and we've gotten those scheduled. So hopefully we can get all of their concerns addressed and continue to move this project forward. Just a reminder, budget workshop scheduled for March the 4th. And I believe I said 6:30, but I think we moved that to 7. And then you'll note the business licenses. Meryl and Robin have been very busy these past couple months, especially in January, doing the business license renewals. So that number is a lot higher than normal. And that is all I have.
Thank you. Any questions for the town administrator?
Yes, I have a question.
We get Councilman Milliken.
Thank you. With regard to the 501c3, I think that's an excellent idea. Have you figured out who the board is going to be composed of for that 501c3?
You know, we identified myself, the mayor, and Francis. You know, we can kind of relook at that. I just kind of wanted to make it as small as possible because a lot of times signatures are needed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we are now. But we can certainly change that up. And we actually haven't, you know, we've submitted the IRS paperwork, but there is still the bylaws and some of the rules of procedure and things like that that need to be fleshed out.
Yeah, absolutely. One recommendation I would make would be to perhaps consider adding Merrill as well, because it's really worthwhile to have somebody to keep track of the finances.
Yeah, definitely. Good thought. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, well, hearing none, thank you. Let's go on to the Public Works report. Is Mark here?
He is.
All right, I'm setting it up. Hang on. There we are. Okay, great. Good evening, everyone. This is the report for January. There was one new request for service in January. It was drainage related. Staff responded to that request. Staff participated in a national Zoom meeting for Public Works Asset Management. You'll recall that we are quite involved in that sort of procedure for how we do with things. Staff participated in a virtual meeting for James Island Creek TMDL. We also participated in the Drainage Committee meeting. We participated in the virtual neighborhood council meeting last month. And we also interviewed the candidates for the tree internship program. Staff cleaned 8 signs in January, installed 1 new stop sign and 4 new street name signs. And we filled 3 potholes and cut vegetation out of the way so people can see going out of the different streets we have. And if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Any questions? Thanks, Mark. Any questions for the Public Works Director? All right, well, hearing none, thank you so much, Mark. We appreciate that. Next is the Island Sheriff's Patrol. Is Sergeant James here?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Let me start video. Let's see if you can see me. All right. All right. Good evening. On James Island, what we did was, as I said last month, we changed some hours last month and started working a lot of late nights. And we've seen that it's done a huge curve as far as the violent crime that we had. I mean, knock on wood, we haven't had any. And we've gotten a lot of good feedback from a lot of the citizens out there being out a little bit later at night up until 4 and 5, 6 in the morning. We stopped somebody about a few weeks ago on Green Hill Road who had a gun on his person and he was arrested. We had from 1594 Folly Road, although it's not in the town, we had a 2019 Bobcat. It's like a compact track loader that was stolen from Priority Landscaping. And that was recovered in the front of 1411 Freer. We don't have any suspects this time, but it was recovered. We had an auto break-in at 1619 Camp Road. And Detective Jacko, who's a property detective, and he also works the town of James Island, did a little bit extra work and located the suspect, figured out who he was, did some detective work, spoke to the suspect who was out of state, and actually got him to send the computer and FedEx it back to the sheriff's office. So that's unheard of. I've never heard of anybody FedExing the stolen property back. The victim didn't want to press charges as long as they got their equipment back, but that was really awesome. A Ladson subject, not Ladson, South Carolina, but a subject with the last name of Ladson. I don't know if anyone heard. I think Administrator Callahan actually asked me last week about a traffic stop that went on Soligree Road. We had him. He was wanted for pointing a rifle at someone, pointing to present a rifle at someone in North Charleston. North Charleston ended up using some sheriff's office personnel. Deputy Risanen, who we're familiar with, that works for the town, got Mr. Ladson to meet by telling him that he wanted his residence pressure washed. Mr. Ladson is very familiar to us. He's been in jail for James Island homicide as well. So we wanted to make sure we knew that he was a dangerous subject, and we got him. And actually, we got him, no one injured, and he had another gun on him. So he's in jail right now. Last case I'll tell you about. We had a gun stolen out of an unlocked car the other day, right off of Pauline. But the last case I'll tell you about, which was an awesome case, Deputy Risanen on Yorktown had a guy bail from the passenger side of the vehicle. They had some drugs in the car. He ends up tracking it back through the phone, doing some search warrants on Facebook. Ends up finding out this criminal that who's a pretty dangerous guy. Had some stuff on his phone in reference to a burglary that happened on James Island. City of Charleston was able to get warrants for the burglary, go to the house on Central Park Road yesterday to arrest him for the burglary. And we end up doing a search warrant with us in the city and recovering 5 guns, a stolen gun, and then linking him to an attempted murder that happened in West Ashley. So all this from something that started out very small and a guy running from a car. Through good investigation, we solved an attempted murder and a burglary. So I'm pretty proud of him for that. Other than that, it's been really quiet. It's been pretty cold and rainy, so we're still waiting on the warm season to come up as well. And I believe we had the food drive tonight. Was that tonight? The drive at the James Island Town Hall?
Yes, it was.
Okay, great. And Chris, and I'm assuming Chris was there as well.
Yes, sir.
All right, awesome. Chris, that's some red light behind you. Is that?
I'm in the car.
Okay, gotcha. But that's it. Anybody got any questions for me? Mayor, we can't hear you. You got your mute on.
Any questions for Sergeant James? Nothing of any use that I was going to say anyway. But if there's no objection for council, I would like to bring forward our Resolution honoring our Island Sheriff's Patrol Officer of the Year is Deputy Bruckner here. Yes, I guess he is. Deputy Bruckner? Is there any objection?
No.
Thank you.
There we go.
There he
Oh,
is. There he
Deputy
is.
Bruckner, thank you for coming. So I'm going to read our resolution. Whereas Deputy Bruckner has been nominated by his peers at the James Island Sheriff's Patrol Officer of the Year, and whereas Deputy Bruckner began working for the town in 2019 and worked the entire year of 2020 in the midst of the pandemic, and whereas Deputy Bruckner wrote 47 tickets, issued 239 warnings, serviced 111 calls, went on 26 field interviews, made 33 arrests, in addition to other outstanding acts of service. He has worked diligently to deter criminal activity, making him a deputy that citizens love and criminals respect. And whereas Deputy Bruckner's dedication and determination did not go unnoticed by his peers, and he is being recognized for going above and beyond the call of duty. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town of James Island recognizes the outstanding service, commitment, and dedication of Deputy Jacob Bruckner, Island Sheriff's Patrol Officer of the Year. Is there a motion in favor?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
We'll go ahead and say all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? Unanimous, Deputy Bruckner. We have
Woo.
a plaque that you'll have to come and pick up one day, but here's your plaque. Deputy of the Year presented to Deputy Jacob Bruckner, Town of James Island, Island Sheriff's Patrol, in recognition of outstanding service, Town of James Island 2020.
And if I could just say
Yay.
one thing.
Don't forget the envelope too.
That's right. Deputy Bruckner is seriously, he is as solid as they come, but he's also good with the community. And I mean, that is something that my hat's off to him. He also solved a stalking case that was kind of a big deal in Mount Pleasant. And he is the go-to guy. So when it comes to, hey, we got a problem over here, he has been the go-to guy. Especially, when he comes out in the evenings and everything else and he works a lot of hours, and everybody loves him over there. Even the bad guys love him. So that my hat's off to him. He's a great subject matter when it comes to criminal enforcement. And he's got a small baby at home, and he still dedicates a lot of hours to the town of James Island.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you all. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Sergeant James, for your lovely words.
That's it, Deputy Bruckner? That's all you got? That's it?
I'm not a good speaker. You know that at this point. I'm pretty awkward. I can't say anything other than that.
Didn't something good happen to you today?
Well, I think everybody would figure out that I got a new car at some point, but yeah. That's definitely top of my list right now.
You got Deputy of the Year for the town of James Island, so you got a brand new car today.
Yay. That's fabulous.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Let's go on to the next item on the agenda, which is the drainage easement exhibit work for Ocean View Phase 2. Ashley, would you like to explain that to us?
Yeah, so, and this was, sort of a lack of coordination that just occurred between the engineers, Thomas and Hutton, and then the right-of-way acquisition, Michael Baker. There needs to be some more easement exhibit work before it actually goes to Michael Baker to do the right-of-way acquisition with those drainage easements. Some extra surveying, bearings and distance on each parcels, or 7 parcels. That total cost, I believe, comes to $6,300.
Is there a motion to approve this expenditure?
So moved.
So Councilman Bowles moves. Is there a second?
I second.
Councilman Mullinex seconded. Any discussion or further, excuse me, any further questions or discussion on the matter? Hearing none, would the town clerk please call the roll? Francis?
Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Mullinax,
Yes.
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes. So that passes. Next, we have the history exhibit plan proposal. Ashley, would you explain that?
Yes, so currently, we don't have any exhibits for our new history museum. We did do a call for items, trying to get some collections from the community. And really that most likely really wasn't the best way to go about it, because we really don't have a plan in place to be a curator of those items, and really a plan moving forward. We talked with Brockington and Associates. So they are the company, the local company who did our history booklets. They've also done a lot of the history work on James Island, the exhibit or the panels that they have at the new library. They also have done some excavation work here on James Island, and possibly have some James Island artifacts they'd be able to work into the exhibits. But their thought, after kind of talking to them about the space, and is that they would first do some temporary exhibits, because we are really close to getting the space open, using what we already have, using what they've already done for us, the pictures, the images, the text, creating some temporary exhibits, and then at the same time, actually developing the permanent exhibits, doing a concept, working with the stakeholders, and really fleshing out what story do we want to tell. And so that's ultimately the work that's in there, the request I'm asking you all to approve tonight. That cost us about $14,000. We do have enough in our hospitality tax budget to cover that cost. It will probably roll over into next fiscal year. If we got started soon, we could probably wrap it up by midsummer.
Is there a motion to approve?
Make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any further questions or discussions about this proposal? Councilwoman Mignano.
Yes. So you had reached out to community previously, and you didn't really have a lot of input. Is that correct?
Yes, we did a call for items on when we mailed out the newsletter, and we just didn't really receive any feedback. I do have one resident who actually does have a collection of items, but he does not want to, or he's not in a position yet to donate anything until he wants to see the actual, casing it would be in, security, that sort of thing, before he commits to lending it to us.
And so they would be in charge of all of the items that they procure for the Arts and Cultural Center. Is that correct? Like they would be in charge of making sure that they were safe and secure,
No, they would not. Our insurance would cover that based on the cash value, as they'll do the art, because we have already communicated that to the artist who's going to be lending her materials. And so we did, Francis, I know, reached out to our insurance company, and they will cover that. So Brockington Associates will more or less really be kind of guiding us through that process of, again, what story are we going to tell, but also how we need to go about being a curator and knowing what things to ask for. She says, we'd be in a much better position, instead of just asking for anything, to be able to ask for more specifically for items. We can go ahead and kind of identify those items we want once we have that conceptual plan in place.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Councilman Milliken.
Yeah, so I was just curious. I like the idea of there being a temporary exhibit space. And I think that that would probably be something that they would want to carry forward, at least a portion of their plan, to kind of maintain a temporary exhibit space. It's nice to have a part of any kind of display that is refreshed every now and again, so that you could get new material in there and have people who are curious come back again and notice new things. So that would just be my comment, that we would like to maybe try to keep some of the temporary exhibit space just that, for revolving exhibits that might be going through there.
Okay, great. And she did talk about that too, the importance of having some revolving exhibits that we can open up to other, but there's different museums with different collections that you can borrow for a time period. So we did discuss that. And so that's something that we'll definitely work into that plan.
And the other thing is, we also have a number of really great resources here locally. We have the Avery Research Center, which is just a great resource. We have Saul Legree that has a number of items that they might be willing to lend out. A lot of possibilities are here on the island. And I just want to make sure that we make sure that this firm is aware of all those other possibilities, so they could reach out to them as well, because they have historians working at all of those locations, and it would be good to get their input as well.
Great. Okay, good.
So Councilman Milliken, those are great ideas, and we'll send them forward. But I believe that this group should be understood as an important stakeholder. And, the History Council that is an important group of stakeholders. But, I expect that this group will come up with ideas and proposals and get input from, the members of council as we go forward. And and having a space where we have rotating exhibits sounds like a great idea, and I'm sure that we'll do that. I think this proposal is that, there'll be something in the summer when it opens, and then we will gradually improve it. And my impression so far is that some James Islanders, some James Island families that have historical artifacts that we might want to share, and they want to share, will be more likely to do it once they see something nice. When they come and see our museum area and they say, well, this is nice, I would like my piece of furniture or my artifact or my photograph, as part of it. So hopefully we'll get more interest in shared artifacts as we move forward. Is there any other discussion? All right. Yes, Councilman Bowles.
I just had a quick question on the timeline on this. I know you just mentioned the opening in the summer and doing stuff by then. As far as the meeting and the planning and stuff like that goes, I apologize if this was in the letter, but I was looking through it just now and I didn't see it. Do we have kind of a calendar in mind for when this would play out?
She did say that it would, probably carry out through the summer, as far as getting the plan in place. But she said simultaneously we would go ahead and be getting, since we already have the verbiage and the pictures, go ahead and get the temporary exhibits made. So we do have something ready for when it opens. And the furniture was actually delivered today. It looks great. So it's, we're getting there. There's still, the HVAC work that needs to be done. The art panels aren't delivered yet. So, but we're getting closer. And, I've been thinking the next couple of weeks really need to work on advertising for the position of someone to manage and coordinate the space day to day. So we have someone in place when we're ready to open.
All right. Any other questions? Any other comment?
Another.
Councilman Bowles.
Thank you. Will this group also, physically, are they going to be the movers I guess, for this kind of, bringing the stuff in physically, or would it be getting somebody else to do that part? Because this looks like it's like a concept development and a planning scope of work only. That's a compound question. I'm sorry, I should do better than that because I'm a lawyer, but I should clean up the question and say what we are paying for is a planning only, not lifting and moving stuff around and putting it in the museum. Is that correct?
That's correct. And I imagine they will help guide us on the actual, furniture pieces and, where to print the materials, except for maybe, the items they actually have that they're willing to donate to the space. I would imagine they would be in care of those.
All right, are there any more questions or comments? Hearing none, would the town clerk please call the roll? Francis?
Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Molinax,
Yes.
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes. All right, so that passes. Next, we go to the demolition of a dilapidated structure item. Would you speak to that, Ashley?
I will. And also, our building inspector, John Percelli, is here as well if you have questions for him. This property is at 1264 Fort Johnson Road. It's a property that John has been working on for a while, along with our town attorney, Bo Wilson. Many certified letters have been sent, working with the family that has interest in the property, and been unable to get the family to make repairs or carry through with the demolition themselves. So Mr. Percelli got estimates for the demolition and is requesting that you all approve the one attached in the packet from Waste Services, $9,950.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second, Councilwoman Mignano. So moved by Councilman Milliken, seconded by Councilwoman Mignano. Any further discussion or questions? Yes, Councilwoman.
I have a question. Are there houses that are inhabited behind that building? Because I see like dog pens and stuff when I drive by. So are there people living back there in other homes?
There are. It's heirs property with, there is a structure, a home that someone is living in right behind this structure. John may remember, I don't exactly remember what her relation is to that building. But again, it's heirs property and family owned.
And we're going to be able to get rid of this structure and not cause any harm to people living behind?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
They, yes.
Okay, good.
And John, John may can elaborate on that as well, because I know he actually, met with the contractors and probably discussed that in more detail. John?
Hello, everyone.
Hey, John.
How are you? I was waiting until after this meeting to see if we were up or down, but then I guess the follow-up step would be a meeting with the contractor on site to make sure we go over everything as far as how the project would proceed, so that we would be aware of the person in the back, and also we're right on the street also, so we want to make sure everything is done as quickly but as cleanly as possible.
And we want to be sure to make sure no damage is done to the neighboring houses.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
Councilman Milliken.
Thank you. Also, there's a couple of grand trees that are very close to Fort Johnson Road there and close to the structure. Is there going to be an effort to protect those as well?
Yes, sir. That was also part of the proposal from the contractor too.
Right.
So yeah, they will be whatever is done. So obviously.
And I'll just add, when we, the town, just like anyone else that would come and ask for a demo permit, we got our own demo permit through Kristen when we, or in the process of taking down the house on North Stiles. And, one of those is submitting a plan, looking at the grand trees, making sure tree protection is installed. So there will be tree barricades installed.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano.
I'm sorry, I just have one last question. Because that building is so close to the road, I haven't been back there, so I don't know, are the demolition equipment gonna have to be like on Fort Johnson to access that? Or are they gonna be able to work from behind? Or are we expecting that road to be closed temporarily while we do this?
That's a good question. I believe that there will be enough room that it will not impact the traffic on Fort Johnson. I think that's one of the issues I can review with the contractor. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, is there any other questions? Hearing none, would town clerk please call the roll? Francis?
Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Mullinax,
Yes.
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes. So that passes. Next, we have a 5-year maintenance agreement for the generator. Ashley, would you explain that?
Yeah, actually, Mark, can you touch on this one?
Yes, I'd be happy to. When we, of course, built the building and got the generator and everything, there was a time period that we could, have maintenance done on it. We haven't needed to use that now. Now that it's over, and we need to have regular maintenance on it, we have contacted Cummings, who they're the manufacturers of our generator, and they have given us a proposal to do annual maintenance on it. I think it's spread out over 5 years. What needs to be done each of those years to maintain our generator in good working condition. And I would not suggest going with anybody else. Go with the manufacturer. So, do you have any questions?
Well, just a minute. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion or further questions?
So this generator is for
Councilman.
town hall? I'm so sorry. The generator is for
Mignano,
town
yes.
hall? Is that
Yes.
correct? That was it. That was my only question.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it is the generator at Town Hall.
All right, there's no further discussion or questions. Would the town clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Mullinax,
Yes.
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes, and so that passes. So our next item on the agenda is the fencing lean-to for the Pinckney Park shed. Is Ashley, are you going to explain that, or are you leaving that to Mark?
Well, yeah, we both can. But so I do not have all the estimates back for the lean-to. So hopefully we'll have that at the next meeting. But we do have a request to approve the materials and labor to build a fence around our new shed. We really need to protect that area and screen it off from the kids. The materials would be about $1,800 from Lowe's, and this is just prefab panels. And the labor would be Oxford Construction for $1,950. So total project for the fencing would be about $3,700.
So is there a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second. I do have a question though.
Yes, okay. So any further questions or discussion? So Councilman Milliken.
Yeah, what is the nature of the fence? Is this going to be a wooden fence or a chain link fence?
It will be a privacy fence, and I believe Mark quoted treated lumber, right?
Yeah, yes. It's the standard type of dog-eared type of fence panels that Lowe's has. They will deliver all the materials.
Yeah,
So it's a wooden privacy fence like many people have around their yards.
Mhm.
It is to block the view of some of our equipment and materials that we'll have stored on the outside of the shed, and also to not provide a perfect, absolutely prevent kids from climbing in there. That would be difficult, but to at least provide a somewhat of a barrier, making it clear that people aren't supposed to be messing with our bush hogs and equipment and things,
sounds good.
playing on our dirt piles or whatever.
Mhm.
Any further discussion or questions? All right, hearing none, would clerk please call the roll? Francis, please.
Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Molinax,
Yes.
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes, so that passes. So next we're going to our committee reports. And so the Land Use Committee comes first. Councilwoman Mignano.
Yes. I have a nomination for BZA. I would like to nominate Amy Fabry. I spoke with her. She's worked on other planning commissions. She has been here forever. I've known her for quite a long time, and I think she would be a great fit. And Francis, I'll get the nomination form to you.
I have it.
Okay, good.
So I guess you're going to ask for a second and a vote?
Yes, do it.
I'll second it.
Thank you. And then Francis, can you call the roll, please?
Yes. Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Molinax,
Yes.
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes. Okay, anything else with the Land Use Committee, Councilwoman Mignano?
The only other thing with Land Use Committee is we're still working with the repair care, trying to get that up off the ground with the high school. I'm working currently to do a flyer so that the high school can get more feedback from the students, and hopefully we'll be up and running in the next few months. And that's all I have to report.
Okay, thank you. Environmental and Beautification Committee, Councilman Milliken.
Yes, thank you. We had a great litter pickup with James Island Pride in January. We had 61 participants remove 83 bags of litter from our island roadways. That's a pretty good turnout. That's the best turnout we've had in quite a while. So we were quite happy to see it. The sad thing about this is that there's already a whole lot of new trash that's replaced the old trash along the roadways. And I'm sure you all have seen it. A big accumulation. It just seems like it's an ongoing task. Our next litter pickup is scheduled for March 20th. This will be again a socially distanced kind of event where we wear masks when we meet on the porch to pick up supplies. As usual, we're going to furnish the vests, gloves, and litter bags. And I hope everybody can join us on March 20th. If you feel inspired, get out there and pick up trash before then. It's also time to nominate James Islanders who are community heroes. We met with James Island Pride just before this meeting and decided to extend the period of nominations until mid-March. So if you know people who deserve the Community Hero Award, please find the form on our James Island Pride part of the Town of James Island website. It's easy to fill out, make a nomination of somebody who deserves it. We've got a lot of heroes in this community. As far as making the awards go, we're going to do that in a socially distanced manner as well. We'll probably do a drop-off kind of award and post the pictures perhaps on the town's website. But that's all I have for environment and beautification.
Thank you very much, Councilman Milliken. I have no report for the Children's Committee. Councilman Mullinex, Public Safety Committee.
Okay, the Neighborhood Council will be meeting next Thursday at 7. The agenda will basically be about a briefing from the county about some of the projects that are going on regards to improvements on Fort Johnson Road and some of the other ones around the island too. So anyways, that will be our agenda by my understanding. That meeting will be at 7 o'clock a week from tonight, the 25th. And that's all I have to report this evening.
All right, thank you, Councilman Mullinex. For the History Committee, the History Council is meeting on Zoom, and we had some discussion of bringing in the contractors to work on our museum project. I see here there's a nomination to the History Council. Do we have Councilwoman Mignano? Do you have a nomination?
I do. Melissa Doherty. I spoke
Great.
with her today. She lives in Lighthouse Point, and I've known her for quite a long time. She's very excited about doing this. She's got a lot of great resources, and I think she'll be a good fit.
Great. Is there a second?
I second that.
Right. All in favor? Well, please call the roll. Town clerk, call the roll.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Mullinex,
Yes.
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes. The next item is, are there any questions about the History Council? All right, here none. Next, we have Rethink Folly Road. We will be meeting, I believe, next week for the Rethink Folly Road meeting. We'll get an announcement out for that. Any questions? All right, hearing none, we'll go to the Drainage Committee. Councilman Mullinex.
I don't have anything to report at this time.
Business Development Committee, Councilman Bowles.
No report this month. Thank you.
Thank you. Tree Advisory Committee, Councilman Milliken.
Yes, I have a report. The Tree Advisory Council met on February 9th. We've been working with Mark Johnson in developing a program where we produce a survey of trees and public spaces on James Island. The training for our 3 interns that have been selected will take place next week. And the survey data collection will begin shortly thereafter. I just want to thank Mark and town staff for all that they've done to get this program off the ground. I think it's really going to give us some pretty good insight as to where to plant trees and where the trees that need care are located. The tree council also decided to begin preparations for a town-sponsored tree planting event in the future. And by the future, I mean the distant future, because the plan is to plant acorns in pots. Eventually, from a small acorn, a tree will grow. And then those trees can be then planted in places identified. The other idea is to perhaps even distribute the young trees to residents on the island to plant in their yards. So this is just an idea that the council had. The goal is to have approximately 200 trees to offer for planting. We haven't decided on a date for distribution, but like I said, it's probably going to be in the distant future. And that's all I have.
All right, well, thank you. Next, we have James Island Intergovernmental Council, and I have no specific report. It won't be too long before we have another quarterly meeting. I don't believe we have any tentative date. Do we have a date yet? No, I didn't think so. Right. Next, we'll go to proclamations and resolutions. We have a proclamation, Women in Construction Week. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a, so moved by Councilwoman Mignano. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Mullinax,
Yes.
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes. So we'll be sure to share that with the appropriate group. Okay, we already passed our resolution for the Island Sheriff's Patrol Deputy of the Year. So now we go on to emergency ordinances. Our emergency ordinance for face mask will be lapsed after tonight. And so I would like to move that we extend the ordinance to March 18th, which would be the date of our next meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano,
No.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Mullinax,
Yes.
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes. The next item on the agenda is our executive session, and I would like to make a motion that we will go into executive session to receive legal advice on the tree protection contract. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Mullinax,
Yes.
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes. So we'll go to executive session and we'll be back shortly, I hope.
Right, and I have emailed everyone the call-in information.
Yeah, well, we might.
You are the meeting host. Please enter your host key followed by pound. You are a participant. Please press pound to continue. You have not entered any numbers. Please re-enter your host key followed by pound. You are in the meeting now. There are 4 participants in the meeting. This meeting is being recorded. everybody on? Okay.
my gosh, I actually did the Zoom leave and come back, and I did it correctly. Who knew?
Okay, we're returning to regular session. No decisions were made, no votes were taken. Our next item on our agenda is announcements or closing comments. We'll start with Councilman Bowles. Do you have any announcements or comments?
Just real briefly, I feel bad for what I see in the news with everybody in Texas. I know none of them are probably watching James Island Town Council meetings, but I hope everybody out there is okay. And it was a reminder how important a modern power grid really is when natural disasters hit. And thank you, everybody, for being here tonight and for your work.
Thank you. Let's go to Councilwoman Mignano, sorry.
That's fine. No, I don't have any closing comments today.
Councilman Milliken?
Sorry, I forgot to unmute. I have no comments. Thank you.
Councilman Mullinax?
Nope.
Well, I guess he said no comments, so that'll be good. I would just ask all our citizens to continue to social distance and get those vaccines as soon as you can. And the active cases on James Island are not as high as they were last summer, but they still remain high, and we need to all be careful. Thank you very much. I hereby call the meeting adjourned. Good night.